Okay, let's talk about how to pull sold comps the correct way for figuring out home values. And a couple of key points I want to really make clear, especially for those that are not in the real estate industry. Appraisals only deal with sold comps, not actives. Okay, normally they're going to use 3 to 6 sold comps. I see 5 a lot, and the point is, you really need more than 3 good comps to go through underwriting with no issues. And it's the lender's underwriters, they're the ones that's going to scrutinize the appraisal. They're going to look over it, and they're going to hone in on the adjustments for the comps. The higher the percentage on the adjustments, the more likelihood they're going to call the comp into question, go back to the appraiser and want more information or want him to replace it with another comp. It's just not good, and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, this is really important. The first thing to start out with when you're looking at comps and you're looking online or wherever is to stay within a 25% square foot variance. Okay, the most important thing, comps must be similar, especially when it comes to their size and square footage. This is the first thing to start out with. You want to take your square footage times 25%, add that to it and subtract it from it. That should be your target range of size of house to be comping. You cannot compare a $1,000 square foot home with a 3,000 square foot home. It just doesn't work that way. The next thing is they got to be in the general area. Okay, the closer the better. I always start out at a half a mile, and I'll either work my way back in or out if I have to. But if there is a lot of good comps at a half a mile, I'm going to drop that to a quarter of a mile, because the closer you can get, that's even better. I never try to go out more than 1 mile unless it is a really particular property, it's more rural or whatever. But in the city or in a populated neighborhood, you need to keep that to a quarter of a mile to a half mile. Okay, the subject property we're going to be using for this example is 3,515 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. It has an in-ground pool with a designer outdoor kitchen. This home is in immaculate condition. It shows great. It's probably superior for his appeal and condition than any other comp we have right now, but this is what our subject property criteria is going to be. So if we look at our 25% square foot variance rule, that means at 3,515 square feet, we're going to be 878 square feet above and 878 square feet below. So that means my target range for my comps should be 2,637 to 4,393. Now generally what I'm going to do is I'm just going to round that off or round it down. So in my search criteria, I'm going to be looking from 2,600 to 4,400. That's my target. That's the first thing I'm going to try to hone my comps in on, is a square foot. Okay, so this is an example of an actual appraisal, and a couple things I just want to point out, and I've highlighted them really in yellow. Your subject property is always on the left. Your subject property is never going to be touched. In other words, adjustments, plus and minuses, are always going to be added to your comps. And you can see the 3 comps there on the right. I want to point out, and this is why I'm showing you this, is look at all the square foot for the comp properties. They're all close, okay? It doesn't matter about beds, baths, all the other amenities. First, it's the square footage. And you're even going to see on here the adjustments. Even though some of these are close, you're going to see that they're adjusting them still for the difference in the square footage. But the point is, all these comps are all within 25% square foot variance. Okay, so this is another one, same thing. And on this one I want to point out how these adjustments kind of work. And I'm going to give you a tip here, and this tip's worth its weight in gold, I'm telling you. But remember, just for comps, if a comp is inferior, you add value to it. If a comp is better than your subject, you subtract. So one thing you're going to notice with every one of these comps, they're all inferior comps because they all have upward or positive adjustments. And look at the percentages. I mean, the first one's not bad. The second one's doable. But the third one, I mean, that's getting up there. So that third comp could be an issue. It could be called into question. But the point is, just remember, if you have a swimming pool and the comp you're looking at doesn't, you're going to add value to that comp. So you would add 10,000, 15,000, 7,500, whatever that value might be, you're going to add it to bring up that value of the comp. And that's how that works. That's why only the comparable sales are adjusted. The subject property is never touched. Okay, I'm going to pull up the MLS and we're going to go through it. I'm going to show you exactly how this breaks out and what it looks like here in our MLS. And we're going to use Gulf Breeze, Florida as an example. So hang on and let me get this going. Okay, I've got the MLS pulled up. I already have the criteria set like I want it. So we're just going to pull sold comps and Gulf Breeze proper area here in Florida. Basically our zip code is 32561 and our city's Gulf Breeze. This will just mean we won't pull up any beach properties, and for the most part it'll keep it in what we call Gulf Breeze proper. We're going to start with our 25% square foot variance, rounded off 2600 to 4400, so it will not pull up any properties that are outside this criteria. And going back, we're going to go back 3 months as the sales date. We're not going to go back 6 months. We're going to start at 3 months and see what we have, because 3 months is better. If we can keep them in the square foot variance, that's going to be good. And we've got our criteria. So you can see there's only 10 properties. And I'm not setting a radius criteria like I normally always do, just because there's already only 10 properties. So let's look and see what, kind of what we got. Okay, so we've got a 265 and we have a 237, then it drops down to 217, 216, 211. So this right here is almost dead on with our square footage, bedroom, baths, all that kind of stuff, year built. All this looks really good. I'm not going to open this up and go over the details of this particular property because I do know it. It does not have a swimming pool. It does have a little outdoor kitchen, not to the extent of the subject property we're talking about. So it's inferior for the pool, for the amenities basically, just a tiny bit smaller. But still, $237 sales price. That's all we need to justify our current list price on the subject property. So that comp right there is perfect. You've got another one here. Now, this one sold a lot higher for square foot pricing, but it's brand new. It's smaller, so it's going to have, a pretty good chunk of upward adjustments for the square footage, and there's no pool or anything. So it could be, manipulated in appraisal, but 265 is still good. It could be used. The only problem is, from there you drop to 217. Once again, this one's not exactly the same, and it's going to have some upward adjustments for square foot pricing, but from an appraisal standpoint and from a comp standpoint, this one right here is good enough for the subject property that's listed right now at the 3515 square foot. So I hope that helps. I hope that also helps understand, kind of how to pull comps. Now, this is from an agent standpoint. Being in the MLS, it's really easy for us to go back and change our criteria. And let's say we wanted to go back. I'm not going to mess with the square footage. That's something right there. I do not want to look at anything outside that criteria. There's just, going to be really no reason, I don't think. But if we did go back 6 months, we pick up 5 properties. Let's see if any of these 5 help us or whatever. But if you're a homeowner or you're not an agent, you don't have MLS access, and you're looking on Zillow or Trulia and you're looking at the sold comps, just remember, write down your 25% variance and only look at properties first that meet that criteria. Keep all your searches in that. Start at 3 months, start close, then just start gradually going out a little bit further if you have to. What's crazy is you would have to know the area for anyone watching this that doesn't know Gulf Breeze proper. The values are just, they're just great. They just get better and better. The demand is so high. But 6 months, the lowest price per square foot is $140. There's so many other areas around here that can't even get that high. That's crazy. Alright, this is taking too long. So 265, we got a 260 on Fairpoint, 3,000 is smaller, built in 17, so there's another comp that could be used. Plantation Hill, and that's too far out, that doesn't count. Then we got our 237 drop into our 217. So maybe we pick up one more that can help. So good point. The value's there from paper and appraisal standpoint, and that's only a matter of what the market says and what buyers are willing to pay. Anyway, hope this helps. Appreciate it. Thanks. Have a great day.